Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel. It is another day, another dollar in the 100-day project. Today we're going to be making some over the page, or well, I guess they're called, I think the word is hangovers. So, oh, by the way, I finally made a journal. That you have on hand. Isn't it a beaut? Some spare fabric there. A journal that is essentially blank that I can use at moments like this to demo an idea. So that's a blank page there. So I have some prototypes done. So essentially what it is, okay, 4 inches by 6 inches that hangs over the page. Now, of course, it could be clipped. This is an altered paper clip here. It could be clipped in place and have a little bit of a, a little thingamajig showing at the top or the side. But I think because they're big enough, it will likely just stay in place, just on its own. Personal preference, obviously. So that is basically how to use them. But what exactly am I talking about? So let's show you a few prototypes. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to add anything more to this or not, but sometimes it's just important to get on here and show you. So this was some fairly probably cheap scrapbooking paper, a couple of different coordinating patterns. So I thought, well, okay, let's use it. Now it's only printed on one side, so it's lightweight enough to it's not going to add a great deal of bulk. So basically what I did, I looked high and low in my papers and I found something that I thought kind of matched it, because this is kind of a pinky brown. So again, I know that maybe I in particular spend a little too much time trying to be matchy-matchy and need to be a little more daring in some of my color choices. So anyway, I've tried that here. So in this particular one, I've just have some of this contrasting paper and then tore away some of the other design, put on a fussy cut butterfly. Now, when you take it off your page in the journal, you've got all this space to write on. Now, whether a person chooses to use a two-sided paper or do some subtle stamping or stenciling, add lines, or do nothing is, again, personal choice. So the back side of this, so what would be showing on another page in the journal, I've incorporated a pocket here, and I reinforced it and also, tried to make it a little more interesting by having that band of contrasting paper against the solid. And then here is just some torn and inked paper. So again, more possibilities to add a focal point or whatever. So that's one example. This one is, same paper, created a belly band. Again, use this to create some contrast. Added a butterfly. I think that's from Artie Mays' freebie kit. Just folded up some paper, didn't even bother inking it, to put in here, again, as journaling space. And of course, a person could do more inking, more embellishing, more of everything. The back side on this one, I created a pocket, and I just, again, used some, I didn't even glue this down, so I guess theoretically a person could tuck something in there if you wanted to. I used my oval punch to cut some ovals. again, a freebie butterfly. Kind of created a variety of edges just by some skillful tearing and gluing. And again, more paper for writing on. So there's that one. Then in this one, I used more cut ovals. Geez, I should have tried to get some of that ink off from some past projects. Forgive these inky fingers. Another die-cut butterfly. I think these butterflies came from a Dollar Tree or Dollarama, packaged butterflies in different sizes. Anyway, 5 ovals, again, to create some interest, because the paper in itself is pretty subtle. So I just kind of staggered them, did nothing on the inside other than some gluing. Because this is kind of cardstocky, a heavier weight, I didn't bother cutting them flush, because I'm thinking that is certainly a lot thicker than the paper itself, so it will be fine. Here I've made a pocket, and again, to provide a bit of contrast, I matted this paper on the solid. And this paper just came out of a little El Cheapo pad of paper. So I folded it in such a way that, the color would be showing. And just another folded piece of paper here. Again, to show the possibilities. Then on this one, I went a little different with this one. This is a 2-sided scrapbooking paper in the, pink colorway. And in this case, I chose to decorate it using a contrasting paper. Let me show you here. As well as I fussy cut some of some pages out of a digital that I created using my carved stamps. And by now you will have seen the video on carving your own stamps, and I really hope you choose to do it. I also wanted to, of course, draw your attention to some of the possibilities in that kit in case you don't want to ever do your own stamps. So, here are some of the things that you get in the kit. I won't do a real, flip through, but certainly the possibilities exist. I printed some of them on cardstock. So with the heavier weight, if you cut it out, it can become a tuck spot, it can become a pocket or whatever. All sorts of color. The beauty of course, creating, if you buy my digital, then woohoo, thank you for the support. And there's a heck of a lot of stuff to work with. If you cut your own stamps, though, then you're only limited by the color of ink pad you choose to use. So I also fussy cut a bunch of the shapes. Now, I don't know whether we'll be using any of these soon or not, but I just wanted to draw your attention to that. Okay, so back to the prototype. So this is one of the stamps I created. It's basically a row of roses, and it's cardstock, so it's certainly able to withstand the rigors of being a pocket. I used a contrasting piece of like the cutoff of the stripe. I used a tag, I don't remember who those are, I'm sorry. Sort of this dusty pink initial. I then used some of this paper, used another little bit of the rose thing to create a tab so that people know that they can pull this out and unfold it and so on. So that's the front side. inside is just plain, and isn't it handy that those stripes are going horizontally if you want to make a list or write on it. And then I used okay, this is the other paper. So one side is that, one side is that. I created 2 pockets using that, and then I just tucked in these little digitals. I also just want to say, because sometimes I don't know, I don't want to call it a pet peeve, but quite often people seem very hung up on the idea that, oh, everything has to be backed, everything has to be backed. Well, if you were to sit down today and make a list or write a letter, you would pick up a piece of paper and you'd write on it. So what makes us think that we can't write on this? We can. So not everything has to be backed all the time. Obviously, if it was packaging material, you want to back that. But let's not get hung up on the idea of having to back everything, because paper is paper is paper, and we've been writing on it for centuries. Another example, this was another type of paper. Yeah, you can see it's sort of coordinated to this. So on this one, I use, again, this is part of the kit, and it's a rubber stamp that I had done on some, 100-year-old paper and digitized it. So it's got this kind of lacy thing and polka dots, so we can see there's a riot of pattern going on. I let this overlap, again, just to push myself in that design direction. And, and at the back, I use that same rose to create a pocket. And I'm thinking that, this could go in here as a journaling space. Again, this is one of those things that you cut out or punch out from a scrapbooking kit. We don't always have to do everything the hard way, Sometimes we can take some shortcuts and get a lovely product without having to, it's like if you grew your own flax, to weave your own linen, to cut your own pattern, to sew your own dress. Maybe it's okay to go to the fabric store and buy the linen just outright. All I'm saying. So shortcuts are good. So I'm going to put this one aside because I don't know really what else I want to do with it. And I'll work on this one instead. So basically I said this was 4x6. And again, if your journal was smaller than, say, one this size, then naturally you would size up or down this thing. I wanted to maximize, because it was 12 by 12 paper, I wanted to maximize it. So I cut it, 6 inches and then 3 cuts the other way. Okay, so I want to use some of those those carved stamp materials of mine. So I'm going to, and I have this kind of cutting mat. I hope it's not making glare for you, but I do like to sort of protect surfaces where I can. So what I intended to do, and this is one of the pages. Okay, this is going to be my focal point on here, and I'm going to use a tea-dye doily, blah, blah, blah. So this is pretty stark white. This is sort of creamy. This is, aged. This is aged. So maybe I need to obscure that background a bit. So this is, now I think when I printed this, I did not pick fill the page. So hopefully you're a little quicker on the draw than I was. I know that I'd buy digitals from people, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this sure doesn't seem to be, a good use of paper or whatever. get familiar with and use the printer options that you have. So, number one, if the file is a JPEG, you can change the color. You can up the contrast and downplay the saturation. If you wanted something to be more of a background paper than say a more vibrant and bright paper, you can do that. You can fill the page. My printer doesn't print borderless, unfortunately, but I could have said on this one, fill the page, and it would have, expanded the actual imagery. On something, I probably don't have anything to show you within reach, but on other types of things, well, okay, let's just show this first, something. Now, suppose this, maybe I was doing a tiny little book, and these things, these motifs at 5 inches, which is kind of a perfect pocket size, maybe this is going to be way too big. So I could have chosen print 2 to a page, and everything would have been shrunk, and there'd be like two sets of this on the page. And you can go 6 and 9 and get to the point where you're doing these little micro minis. Anyway, not supposed to be doing a printer tutorial here, but so anyway, all I'm saying is use the tools at your disposal. This, in case you've never seen it, this is a ruler that I found at a thrift store. Like it because it kind of has this grippy thing. And using an X-Acto knife, I just chewed up both sides of it to create my own tearing ruler. So what I'm going to do is just tear along there, because I want fairly, now that pink is not a bad match to the pink in that design. I want something fairly subtle. Well, let's get rid of this edge as well. I might as well cut them all off while I'm at it. And I can do whatever I want. Whoopsie. Now, I don't want to have to try to piece around that, this scalloped thing on the paper. So I'm just going to probably, which part of this do I want? Maybe this. It gives me some text. It gives me a little bit of grunge in the corner. And of course, if this is not the right size or shape, I'll just keep ripping at it till it is. Now, a lot of it is going to be covered up, but hey, that's the name of the game in collage, isn't it? We hand select something very carefully, and then we cover it up. Now, I wish I would have, I could put something different there, I suppose, or I could leave that white because there is white on here. Okay, let's start some gluing. Have I mentioned that this is not rocket science? Where's my glue? I suppose I should cut this down. Or I could do it like so. Can you see anything? I'm kind of, as I watch my own videos after uploading them, or after transferring them to my laptop, I'm kind of getting pleased with myself that I'm in frame so often, like woohoo. So watch this go downhill fast, just because I said that. So I'm going to just quickly add my glue. I call it Yoo-hoo just because that appeals to my sense of humor. Yoo-hoo. Where's my glue? Now I had rounded these corners, but that's okay. I can do it again. Sorry, there's that wrinkle there because I remember back in the day when I was working at, well, let me back up one step further. So when I was graduating from high school, I thought to myself, I want to help save the world. I've always been mature for my years. I had a good solid head on my shoulders, and I thought, social work, that's the place to be, baby. Took a college 2-year diploma program, and where am I going with this story? Oh my goodness. Hopefully it'll come back to me. Right now, I slipped my mind. Okay, this doily, as you know, depending on how much the design or how open the design is, can tear very easily during the dyeing process. So I think what I'll do, because I wanted this to kind of go around the edge, and so let's make a crease in it right now so I know where to fold that. And in fact, maybe my life would be simpler. Probably a job for whatchamacallit, art glitter glue. Haven't used this for a day or two. Oh, don't you love people struggle with their glue? You can count on that in virtually every YouTube video you watch. Okay, I'm just adding glue, obviously, to the more substantial parts of the design. I can see where my fold is, so I'm only going as far as that right now. Trying to hit some of these bigger, or, well, even some of the smaller cross pieces so that the doily doesn't catch on anything. Okay, so maybe we'll put it right there. So you know, once art glitter glue catches, it is there to stay. So now it helps hold it in place while I add some glue to this side. I'll take a chance using glue stick here. And I will add art glitter glue as I did on the other side to the bigger areas in the design. And again, because quite often we rip and tear and distress and fold and mangle and mutilate, this torn thing is, it's not the end of the world. We create our own reality around here. If I say that that's the look I wanted, then damn it, that's the look I wanted, and that's the look I got. So that's the look I wanted. Just gently try to position that again. if your little eagle eye spots some creases or bumps there, then just tell yourself that, well, that's what Hazel wanted. I sure would like to know why I started that story. It must have been a brilliant point I was trying to make. Okay, if there are some things that are lifting up, you have a couple choices. Rip them out, off, and let them not annoy you. Or reach under gently and add a drop of glue. Again, I have other elements planned for here, so it's not going to be the end of the world. Okay, now I wanted these guys on here, and I'm not going to add a pocket on this side, simply because I think it'll be too much wear and tear on all these little itty bitty things that are sticking out. I thought I also had pre-selected something. Okay. Let me see. What is going on here? Okay, those were those pockets that might end up on the back side. Those were just some things for... I don't know, do I want to use something more of this here? I think what I might do is just reach for my, well, a cascade of stuff falling. Reaching for my vintage photo. Didn't dip it, just whatever color is on there. Just toning some of that back. And also catching any of this white that is visible. So you can see just by dirtying it up a bit, going along the edge of the doily, I'm exposing where it's not glued down, for one thing. I don't think that's going to matter, because that's kind of where I was planning to put those angels, but I could put a little dab of glue there. And again, to unify this, I guess I need this in a second, so I don't need to worry about. A person would probably also take the time to ink, but you know how I feel about inking with you guys watching. I think it's kind of not a good use of your time or mine. Okay, so I guess I could have pulled out a postage stamp or something to decorate here as well. I've got this little label that could go there. Let's grungy this up a bit. Because these makeup brushes are so dense, they do hold, you know, kind of enough color for this kind of last minute touch-up. Or do I want this down here? Maybe this is where the doily is more ratty, so it might be better to put it there. Okay, I'll position this in a way that it'll hold down the torn edge of the doily. But then it covers the torn edge of the doily. Oh well. Sometimes safety and security is more important than... Okay, so these guys obviously came out of a book. Then I fussy cut the image around. I'll confess that I shortened the ribbon because I thought that's really asking for it to tear. In case you've never seen the fine art of gluing, let me get right to where you can see everything. I hope that, I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but I hope that you have chosen to start a 100-day project. Okay, so basically it's like that angel is pointing to that label. It's so miraculous. And you can see that the little bit of roughing up, not roughing up, but grunging up that I did with the ink helps unify that whole thing. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. So let's call that done on this side. We have that little bit of the doily sticking out as a little bit of interest there. Can't aim that pin in there. I also, crazy as it might seem, I also save these kinds of little strips, at least until I'm done with a project, so that if I wanted to, I could run this along here. And in fact, maybe I should, because that little, you may or may not be able to see it, but that little dotted line, clearly I didn't quite hit the mark there when I was trimming it off. So yeah, and I think rather than try to just get it, use a glue stick, I'll just quickly use some art glitter glue. And I have more control over where it at. Assuming I can get it out of the bottle, I have more control over where it is going to go. Oh my goodness, it's not like this thing to get clogged up. Although it's been a very long time since I cleaned this. You know, where you actually take it to the sink and hot soapy water and all that. Okay, so I'm going to add just a little smidge of glue along this whole thing. To be fairly quick with this stuff because it dries quickly. And of course, it, as you know, or maybe don't know, but it grabs on the first contact. And so you gotta grit your teeth and make sure you know what you're doing, or you'll find yourself doing some problem solving. Okay, so I'm going to line it up at the edge. Cover my little dotted line. Cool. Then, of course, when that is more fully dry, I'll use my I'll try right now. I'll just reshape that corner so it continues to be rounded. So that that's probably not very good for writing on. So that's another option. A person could add something in there that would give a better, you know, a less busy surface to write on. Let's do something on the back side though and call this a video. Because I had also picked the word. Isn't this cool? I put this in this little box, all of these words, and only as I was digging through them. I bought this at a thrift store. I think this whole thingamajig cost, I think it was 2 bags at 50 cents each. Some of the words will probably never be used, but it's two-sided. And all these, you know, pretty good colors. So I picked out a couple. Sentimental was one of them. Where is the other? Where, oh where? Seems to have gone missing. Sentimental it is. Make a little order here. Okay, so what else can we do here? Whoops. Maybe I could tuck it under there. See where that little doily is lifting there? By tucking it under there, it looks like, oh, she layered. Oh my God, she layered. Okay. Get it semi-straight. Now I still have to add a smidge. Otherwise that will lift and tear with use. You know, another thing a person could do with these is add an eyelet and a little dangly thing. I didn't, you know, gather any of that stuff up because there is a limit to how long these videos should kind of last. I think I said in another one of these videos that I wish I would have, I'm probably going to change horses in midstream here. I wish I would have called this project instead of challenge, because it seems like I'm doing a variety of things and not just, well, it's not really a challenge. I mean, it's a, oh, you know what? I bet you I wanted to use this. Or did I want to use that over here? I think I might have planned to use this here. Why don't I glue it down before I lose it? And it's one of those things, you know, I also have this. I never know why, what's with these brackets? Anyway, that's another story, I guess. There's nothing to say that I can't, as I find over the course of time, or when I finally use that in a journal, you know, I can continue adding to it. I just kind of like the idea of introducing this brownie red, brownie burgundy here, exactly here, because it connects that lace, fake lace border, and this corner of this little flippy thing. That's why that was kicking around on the table. Okay, so back to this one. I'm not sure why oh, you know what? I have other little ones of these things that, there's some little fussy cut leaves, some pink things. That shouldn't be there. That's a gel print. Oops. Maybe this. That's introducing another color. The other thing I could do, but again, I didn't think ahead and drag that stuff over here, is use my mulberry stamp pad. Don't really like fussy cutting in front of people either. But this mulberry is kind of a better match. So let's quickly do some of these. I think I showed this in the video. These were just test prints that I had done after I'd carved the stamps. And it showed how my little poppy pod evolved from the very first stamp to how it ended up. Okay, did I want to keep some blue here though? I guess I don't have to. That maybe is getting a bit dark. Let me use some of these. Do I have a lighter pink happening here? That's purple. I could use this book page. It has a variety of, it has a variety of colors in it. Whoops. Don't lose those. Again, we'll do some ripping and tearing here. I still am trying to, I'm trying to talk, chew gum, and remember why I started that story. You know, it's going to come to me as soon as I turn off the tape, or the camera. But I'm sure you're going to just have to take my word for that, because I'm sure that sort of memory lapse has never happened to you. So let's just say you'll have to take my word for it that that does happen occasionally. Okay, I want this lighter area, but I also want some of that maroony part. trim that afterwards, or I can just tear it for a more organic look. Doesn't matter if that little bit of white shows. I can trim that after the fact. I can use that, I can use that. I can use these guys that let's get another lighter corner here. Again, with some of the maroon. Okay, but I should put something underneath there. Or am I going to do that? Yeah, I could do that to cover the white spot. Okay. See, this is why I do a lot of things ahead of time. Because sometimes I think it's kind of annoying. I know that I've been annoyed by some people's videos when they agonize and agonize and agonize over a decision, and it's just, oh my God, just please pick something. So I don't want to be one of those people. This is going to be very flashy. I guess I should push it over to the side so I cover that little hole there. Oh, there's adorable. Not losing my mind. Well, or at least not in this moment. So I'm basically should get rid of that so I can scissors, scalpel, sutures. If only I had someone at my beck and call here to hand me what I need. Yes, doctor. What next? What else? Can I mop your brow? Okay. And then I said I was going to put this here to cover that. I could for a little bit more. Oh no, I was using that on the other paper. I think, where are my little fussy cuts? I probably don't have any little poppy pods. Fussy cut. Quickly do this. Maybe I'll just leave a little tiny cream colored border around it. Can you see? I'm so happy with this. You know, poppies are a big part of Ukrainian culture, and any self-respecting little old Ukrainian baba would have had poppies growing in her garden, and she would let the seed pods, let it go to seed, and the pods to fill up, And then, of course, once they're sufficiently dry, you can use them in baking and so on, and they're part of, either poppy seed bread, or they're used to add an extra dimension to the boiled wheat that is part of the traditional Ukrainian Christmas meal and so on. So I think, like in these small rural towns and so on, I think quite often the RCMP looked the other way, because, there's a good chance that that little old lady that is doing this is not, in fact, an opium grower and, a drug dealer, distribution kind of a person. So, yeah. And the other nice thing about those poppy pods is once you harvest the dried seeds, the poppy seeds, the time, of course, came when that was a big design element in floral design. So in our shop, if I was making dried arrangement and using poppy pods as part of it, if you looked carefully, there was usually a hole that had been poked into the pod where all the poppy seed had been removed, but otherwise the pod was intact and became a floral design element. So, yeah, I still have a bunch of those, even though, see, so maybe to make those pods show up, okay, I've got 3 of these. Oops, can't pick it up. 3 of these circles. Didn't realize they were different sizes. Okay, do you see a design unfolding before your very eyes? Also have this, but maybe let's go stick with the circles. Okay, we'll just do a sort of a cascading kind of a thing here. Typically, and again, maybe this is a quirk of mine, I always consider the visual weight of an element. So this weighs more than this visually because it's bigger. This weighs more than this because it's darker. This probably weighs about the same as this, again, because it's darker, heavier. But let's just get on with it. I wonder if I can get, again, I didn't bring, I'm just tempting fate here with this, reaching for my ink thing. I should show you. I have this ceramic thing, and I've got my blending things, and I have embroidery floss tied around them, but of course once the bristles get stained, you don't need to look at that. So my pink one would be this one. I don't think there's gonna, I could try my purple one though too. I don't think there's going to be enough ink on there to sufficiently maybe I could get, because my ink pads they're half a mile over there, and I don't want to leave you to get them. I don't know if that did any good or not, maybe a little bit. Here I'm fussy cutting and inking, breaking 2 of my rules. Okay, we can maybe get enough out of this to finish this 3rd one. Then I'll glue them down. I'll put the poppy pod, well, you'll see what I'm going to do. That. Poppy, pod. Asymmetric in their positioning. Seems like a very avant-garde design choice. So we're going to put this one way down here in the corner. Now I have to make sure that that one covers that, so don't want them in a straight line. I'll put that one there. That white space is kind of unfortunately located because I would have probably wanted it higher, but I'll probably get away with that. Oops. I don't want to use 4 of them. I'll probably put a sentiment. It'll be a different shape, a slightly different color. And again, it's, oh, she had a plan. She had a plan. Oh my God, she had a plan. See, I could put that way over to the side. Then I could do like so, and like so, and when you're all by yourself crafting, do you talk to yourself? Or is that just a byproduct of needing to keep the chitter chatter going when doing a video? Okay, don't agonize. Glue. Sufficient overlap so that I get kind of the contrast of light and dark. And the other thing is that we, in our positioning of elements, get to decide how and where, sorry, I have to look this up, how and where we want the viewer's eye to go. So the eye will enter the art piece at a particular point. And I know that when I was taking art classes, and some of the classes would be dedicated to critique, so we would all have done some work. We bring it to class, we take it to the front, and everyone sizes it up. And one of the processes that we learned to do, you know, on our own, because you don't always have, you know, you can't always get those second opinions or advice, is to hold up a piece of art and maybe even prop it up across the room, look at it, and sometimes it's good to even ask, you know, a family member or a stranger, somebody who presumably, someone who would claim that they're not artistic, and ask them, okay, when you look at this thing, what does your eye go to first? And then maybe second. Is it getting stuck anywhere? And that quite often told the artist that, oops, sorry, that there was a problem, because you don't want the eye to stop. Okay, since I cut this out and I have a kind of a lighter spot here, or I could pick a raggedy shape like this if I can pick it up. that might be a good place, but maybe not enough contrast. Okay, let me see if I can find a sentiment. And then that will help me. Devotion. That's a kind of a cool dusty pink. Gusto, Georgia. I could also pick a contrasting color. Twinkle. Maybe that line is a little too harsh. This has more, this repeats the circle. Twinkle seems a little too short. Oh, but devotion is, maybe these are they all the same? I'm trying to ask, are they all the same length? And it does seem like they are about an inch long. Okay, stop waffling and just do it. I'm going, oh, that one has its, I didn't cut that very well, did I? Let's see what else can I grab quick, like, sorry. I just bumped the thing again. Oh, I know, the little drawer I pulled out hit the swing arm. Okay, that solidifies that a bit. Or how about if I do it without it? That even makes it more outstanding. I'm scared now to pull this drawer out again because I'm going to smash into the... That's blue. That's no good. Okay, enough is enough. Let me glue the brushes down. And if I want to, if I come up with something else at another date, maybe a postage stamp or something, I can in fact, I'm going to offset this, which is going to force me, oh, I'm trying to straighten, I made it worse. Who said you can't lift art glitter glue? Oh, for heaven's sake. This is my second video of the day. Maybe I'm getting a little punch drunk here. Okay, I'm gluing this. You can't see. I'm gluing this down for the second time. I'm trying to get it straight. And offset. Should have neatened up that little corner. This is just crazy making. deliberately offset it so that I would be forced to find a third element for there. So I'm going to glue this down and, worry about that at another date, because I'm sure I've kept you too long. Oh, for heaven's sakes. We're at the hour mark, people. That's off. I mean, that's bad. I mean, if you're here, that's great, but if you're not, I'm talking to myself. Okay, I'm leaving that there. You see how this has begun curling up, because of course it's, wet. But I will put it somewhere to flatten. So these are the things that basically, for the most part, well, no, not for the most part. These are the over the page things that are today's project. And anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.